The crystal chandelier cast dancing shadows across the mahogany table as my father raised his wine glass, his weathered face twisted into what he probably thought was a benevolent smile. I should have known right then that my life was about to implode. "Family?" Royce declared, his voice booming through the dining room like he was addressing shareholders instead of his own children. "Tonight, we discuss the future of the Ortiz legacy. My name is Serenity, and I was 34 years old the night my father decided to destroy me with a single piece of paper." Jonas squeezed my hand under the table. My husband had been uncomfortable since we'd walked through the front door of the ranch house I'd grown up in. The staff had looked at us like we were carrying a contagious disease, and my mother Karen had barely managed a stiff hug before retreating to her usual spot, silent and invisible beside my father's throne. "Now that I'm getting older," Royce continued, swirling his wine, "it's time to make arrangements. The ranch needs strong leadership for the next generation." My brother Reggie straightened in his chair, practically vibrating with anticipation. His wife Natasha smirked at me from across the table, her perfectly manicured nails drumming against her champagne flute. Even my younger sister Sophia looked uncomfortable, her eyes darting between me and the floor. "The Ortiz Ranch has been in our family for 4 generations," Royce said, pulling out a manila envelope. "It will continue to thrive under proper guidance." My stomach clenched. Something about the way he emphasized proper made my skin crawl. "Reggie," my father announced, sliding the documents across the table, "the ranch is yours. All 23,000 acres, the cattle operation, the mineral rights, everything. You've proven yourself capable of carrying on our traditions." The room erupted. Reggie whooped like he'd won the lottery. Natasha actually clapped her hands together. Sophia gasped, her face going pale. "Dad," I started, my voice barely above a whisper. "What about—" "You?" Royce's laugh was sharp as broken glass. "Oh, don't worry, Serenity. I haven't forgotten about you." He reached into his jacket and pulled out another envelope, much thinner than Reggie's. My hands shook as I took it. "Devil's Acre," he said, like he was announcing my execution. 1 acre of the rockiest, most worthless land on the property. It's been in the family for decades, completely unfarmable. Consider it a wedding gift." The words hit me like a physical blow. I stared at the deed, the legal description of a patch of land I remembered from childhood. Nothing but stones and scrub brush. So barren we used to joke that even weeds wouldn't grow there. "This is a joke," I said, my voice getting stronger. "You're giving Reggie everything and leaving me with rocks." "You made your choice," Royce snapped, his mask finally slipping. "When you married that man," he gestured dismissively at Jonas, "you chose to abandon everything this family stands for. You want to live like common people. Fine. Here's your common inheritance." Jonas started to stand, but I grabbed his arm. The last thing I needed was him making this worse. "She's still your daughter," my mother whispered, speaking for the first time all evening. "Is she?" Royce turned his cold stare on me. "Because daughters who respect their family don't run off with ranch hands. Daughters who care about their legacy don't throw it away for some nobody with dirt under his fingernails." The silence that followed was deafening. Reggie was grinning like Christmas morning. Natasha looked positively gleeful. Sophia had tears in her eyes, but she wasn't saying a word. I stood up slowly, the deed crumpling in my fist. "You know what, Dad? You're right. I did make a choice. I chose love over money. I chose a good man over your twisted idea of family loyalty." "And look where it got you," he said coldly. I walked around the table until I was standing right behind his chair. "You want to know something? I'm glad you're giving me that worthless piece of land, because it means I'll never have to owe you anything ever again." I leaned down close to his ear. "I'll never need any of you again." The front door slammed behind us with a finality that echoed through the night. As Jonas helped me into our beat-up truck, I clutched that deed like it was a lifeline instead of a death sentence. I had no idea that my father had just handed me the key to his own destruction. 10 years. 10 brutal, beautiful, impossible years. The first winter nearly broke us. Jonas and I moved into a tiny rental house on the outskirts of town, the kind of place where the heater barely worked and the pipes froze if you looked at them wrong. I'd wake up at 5 every morning to waitress at Murphy's Diner, slinging coffee and eggs to truckers who left dollar tips on $20 tabs. "Table 6 wants their eggs over easy, not scrambled." Murphy barked at me during my 3rd week. I heard them say scrambled. I shot back, exhaustion making me snappy. "Customer's always right, sweetheart. Fix it." I wanted to throw the plate at his head. Instead, I smiled and remade the eggs, because we needed every penny. Jonas worked construction when he could find it, his hands cracked and bleeding from the cold. Some nights he'd come home so tired he'd fall asleep at the kitchen table, still in his work clothes. "We could ask Sophia for help," he suggested one particularly bad night, watching me count out quarters for groceries. No. The word came out harder than I intended. "We don't ask them for anything." "Serenity, your pride isn't going to feed us." "It's not about pride. It's about proving I can survive without them. But God, it was hard. Some days I'd drive past Devil's Acre just to stare at that worthless patch of rocks and scrub brush. My inheritance, my father's final insult, sitting there like a monument to his contempt. Year 3 brought our first real break. Jonas got hired full-time with a construction company, and I landed a job at the county clerk's office. We moved into a better apartment, one with heat that actually worked. Year 5 changed everything. "Serenity!" Jonas called from the hospital bed, his voice thick with wonder. "Come meet our daughter." Vanessa was perfect. 7 pounds, 2 ounces of pure miracle, with Jonas's dark eyes and my stubborn chin. The moment they placed her in my arms, something shifted inside me. This tiny person was mine, in a way nothing else had ever been. "She's beautiful," I whispered, tears streaming down my face. "She's got your fight in her already," Jonas said, gently touching her tiny fist. "Look at that grip." My mother sent a card when Vanessa was born. No visit, no phone call, just a generic congratulations card with a $50 bill tucked inside. I threw the card away and used the money for diapers. Sophia tried calling a few times over the years. I let every call go to voicemail. "Serenity, it's me. I know you're angry, but I miss you. I miss my sister. Please call me back." Delete. "I had a baby too. A little boy named Marcus. I wish you could meet him." Delete. "Dad's getting older. He asks about you sometimes." Delete. By year 8, we'd saved enough for a down payment on a small house. Nothing fancy, but it was ours. Vanessa had her own room, painted pink with glow-in-the-dark stars on the ceiling. "Mama, why don't I have grandparents?" she asked one night as I tucked her in. "You do, baby. They just live far away." "Can we visit them?" "Maybe someday." It was a lie, and we both knew it. Year 9 brought rumors. Jonas heard them first at the hardware store. Mining companies are sniffing around the area, he told me over dinner. Something about rare earth minerals. What kind of minerals? Lithium, I think, for batteries and electric cars. Big money, apparently. I felt a strange flutter in my chest. Where are they looking? All over the county. Some of the old ranches, abandoned land, places people thought were worthless. That night, I drove out to Devil's Acre. I hadn't been there in months, but the familiar sight of those ugly rocks and stunted bushes made my chest tight. I walked the perimeter, kicking at stones, wondering what secrets might be hiding beneath the surface. "You're probably nothing," I said to the empty land. Just like he said. But something nagged at me. A tiny voice whispering that maybe, just maybe, my father's cruelest joke might become his biggest mistake. Year 10 arrived with a phone call that changed everything. "Mrs. Ortiz?" The voice was professional, polite. "This is Dr. Martinez from Rocky Mountain Geological Survey. We've been conducting mineral assessments in your area, and we'd like to discuss your property on Devil's Acre." My hand tightened on the phone. What kind of discussion? "The kind that might be very profitable for you. Would you be available to meet this week?" I looked across the kitchen at Jonas, who was helping Vanessa with her homework. My little family, built from nothing, thriving despite everything my father had done to destroy us. "Yes," I said quietly. "I think I would." The geological report sat on my kitchen table like a loaded gun. Dr. Martinez had left an hour ago, but I was still staring at the numbers, trying to make sense of what he'd told me. "Significant lithium deposits," Jonas read over my shoulder for the third time. "Estimated value between $15 and $20 million. $20 million, I whispered. "For that patch of rocks." "Serenity, this is insane. This is absolutely insane." My phone buzzed. Sophia's name flashed on the screen. I'd been ignoring her calls for months, but something made me answer this time. "Serenity?" Her voice was shaky, desperate. "Thank God you picked up." "What do you want, Sophia?" "It's the ranch. We're in trouble. Real trouble." I could hear her crying, which was weird because Sophia never cried. Even as kids, she was the tough one, the one who never let anything get to her. What kind of trouble? "The drought killed half the cattle. Reggie made some bad investments, borrowed against the land. The bank is threatening foreclosure." I felt a cold satisfaction creep up my spine. "That's unfortunate." "Serenity, please. I know you hate us, and you have every right to, but what? You want me to bail you out?" "I want you to come home. Dad's sick, Mom's falling apart, and Reggie's drinking himself to death. We need you." "You needed me 10 years ago. Where were you then?" The line went quiet for a long moment. "I was a coward. I should have stood up for you that night, but I was scared of Dad. I've regretted it every day since." "Not enough to call me before now." "I tried. You never answered." She was right, but I wasn't about to admit it. "What exactly do you want from me, Sophia?" "Just come see us. Please, one conversation. If you still hate us after that, I'll never bother you again." I hung up without answering. 2 days later, she showed up at my door. I was making breakfast when the doorbell rang. Vanessa ran to answer it before I could stop her. "Mama, there's a lady here who looks like you." My blood turned to ice. I walked to the front door to find Sophia standing on my porch, looking older and more tired than I remembered. She was holding a small boy's hand. Marcus, I assumed. "Hi," she said quietly. "You have some nerve showing up here." "I know, but I meant what I said. We need to talk." Vanessa tugged on my shirt. "Mama, who is she?" "I'm your Aunt Sophia," Sophia said before I could answer. "And this is your cousin Marcus." Marcus waved shyly. He looked exactly like Reggie had at that age, all dark hair and serious eyes. "Can we come in?" Sophia asked. "Please." Against my better judgment, I stepped aside. Sophia looked around our small living room, taking in the second-hand furniture and Vanessa's toys scattered across the floor. "It's nice," she said, and I could tell she meant it. "Cut the crap, Sophia! Why are you really here?" She sat down heavily on my couch. "The ranch is dying, Serenity. Dad mortgaged everything to cover Reggie's mistakes. We've got maybe 3 months before the bank takes it all." "And you think I care because despite everything, it's still your family legacy too." I laughed, but there was no humor in it. "My legacy is Devil's Acre, remember? That worthless patch of rocks Dad threw at me like scraps to a dog. He was wrong. We all were. The way we treated you, the way we let him treat you. It was unforgivable." "You're right. It was." Sophia's eyes filled with tears. "I know you'll probably say no, but we were hoping. Maybe you could help us. Alone or—" "Alone?" I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "You want me to give you money?" "We'd pay you back, with interest." "With what? You just said you're broke." "When things turn around." "They're not going to turn around, Sophia. Reggie's an idiot, Dad's a tyrant, and you're all exactly where you deserve to be." The words came out harsher than I intended, but I didn't take them back. Sophia flinched like I'd slapped her. "I know we hurt you," she whispered, "but we're still family." "No," I said, standing up. "Family doesn't abandon each other. Family doesn't choose favorites. Family doesn't throw their own daughter away like garbage." "Serenity, get out. Please, just think about it." "Get out!" Sophia gathered Marcus quickly, both of them looking scared. At the door, she turned back one more time. "I'm sorry," she said, "for everything. I know it doesn't change anything, but I'm sorry." After they left, I sat at my kitchen table, staring at the geological report again. $20 million. More money than my family had ever dreamed of, sitting right under their noses all these years. And they had no idea. The invitation came on cream-colored paper with the ranch letterhead. Formal, pretentious, classic Royce. "The Ortiz family requests your presence for a business discussion regarding mutual interests. Saturday, 2 p.m. "They're really doing this," Jonas said, reading over my shoulder. "After 10 years of treating us like we don't exist." "Oh, they're doing it all right." I folded the invitation and tucked it into my purse next to the geological report. "Question is, are we going?" "That's up to you." "I want to hear what they have to say. Call it morbid curiosity." Saturday arrived grey and drizzling. I dressed carefully, my best black suit, the one I wore to job interviews and parent-teacher conferences. Professional, but not trying too hard. Jonas wore his good jeans and a button-down shirt. "You sure about this?" he asked as we pulled up to the ranch house. "Positive. The same housekeeper who'd worked there for 20 years answered the door. She smiled at me like no time had passed at all. "Miss Serenity, you look wonderful." "Hi, Maria. Good to see you." She led us to the formal dining room, the same one where my life had imploded a decade ago. The table was set with coffee and pastries, like this was some kind of social call. Royce sat at the head of the table, looking older and frailer than I remembered. His hair had gone completely white, and his hands shook slightly as he reached for his coffee cup. Reggie sat to his right, fidgeting with his phone. He'd gained weight and lost most of his hair. Success clearly wasn't agreeing with him. "Serenity," Royce said, standing slowly. "Thank you for coming." "Dad." I didn't move to hug him. Neither did he. "Jonas." The greeting was cooler, barely civil. We sat across from them, the table feeling like a battlefield. Maria poured coffee and disappeared, probably sensing the tension. "You look well," Royce said, studying my face. "Motherhood suits you." "Cut the small talk. What do you want?" Reggie shifted uncomfortably. "We wanted to discuss your situation." "My situation?" "Your financial difficulties," Royce clarified. "Sophia mentioned you're struggling." I nearly choked on my coffee. "She said what?" "It's nothing to be ashamed of," Reggie said, his tone dripping with fake sympathy. "Times are tough for everyone." "Especially for people without family support?" Royce added pointedly. Jonas's jaw tightened, but he stayed quiet. We'd agreed he'd let me handle this. "So you called us here to gloat?" I asked. "Quite the opposite," Royce said. "We want to help." "Help how?" Reggie leaned forward. "We know that land Dad left you has been a burden. Taxes, maintenance, no income potential. It must be costing you money you don't have." "We'd like to take that burden off your hands," Royce said smoothly. "You want to buy Devil's Acre?" "We want to help family," Reggie corrected. "We're prepared to offer you $50,000. Cash. More than enough to get you back on your feet." I blinked slowly. 50,000. "It's generous, considering the land's worthless," Royce said. "But we're family. We take care of our own." "Take care of your own," I repeated. "That's interesting phrasing." "It's a good offer, Serenity," Reggie pressed. "You could pay off your debts, maybe put a down payment on a better house for Vanessa." "How do you know my daughter's name?" "Sophia mentioned—" "Sophia talks too much." The room fell silent. I could hear the grandfather clock ticking in the corner, the same one that had counted down the minutes of my childhood in this house. "I need to think about it," I said finally. "Of course," Royce said. "Take your time, but don't take too long. Opportunities like this don't come around often." I reached into my purse and pulled out a manila envelope, sliding it across the table. "Actually, I have an offer for you." Reggie frowned. "What kind of offer?" "Open it." Royce's hands shook as he pulled out the documents. His face went white as he read the first page. "What is this?" he whispered. "A geological survey of Devil's Acre, commissioned by me 3 weeks ago." Reggie grabbed the papers, his eyes scanning frantically. "Lithium deposits. This can't be right." $20 million worth, I said calmly. "Give or take." "That's impossible," Royce breathed. "Page 3 has the mining company's preliminary offer. They want to lease the land for extraction rights. Guaranteed minimum of $15 million over 10 years. The silence stretched like a taut wire. Reggie's face had gone from pale to red to purple. "You knew," he said finally. "You knew when you came here." "I suspected." "This is—" Royce stared at the papers like they might burst into flames. "This changes everything, does it?" I stood up, smoothing my skirt. Because from where I'm sitting, nothing's changed at all. You still think I'm worthless. You still think you can buy me off with scraps. Serenity, wait. I think it's time you tasted your own drought, I said quietly. And then I walked out, leaving them with their coffee and their shock and their $50,000 insult. The real negotiations were about to begin. My phone started ringing before we even made it home. Don't answer it, Jonas said, watching Royce's name flash on the screen for the third time. I'm not planning to. But they didn't give up. Royce called 6 times. Reggie called 4. Sophia called twice, probably trying to play peacemaker. I let every single call go to voicemail. The next morning, I met my friend Lexi at her law office downtown. We'd known each other since high school, and she'd built a solid practice handling real estate and contract law. Holy shit, Serenity, she said, spreading the geological survey across her desk. This is real? As real as it gets. The mining company wants to move fast. They're offering a signing bonus of $2 million, plus royalties. And your family has no idea? They do now. I showed them the report yesterday. Lexi whistled low. I bet that went over well. About as well as you'd expect. She pulled out a legal pad and started taking notes. Okay, let's talk strategy. What do you want out of this? Everything. I want them to understand exactly what they threw away when they threw me away. Revenge is a dish best served with proper legal representation, she said with a grin. I'm in. We spent 2 hours going over contracts and mining rights. By the time I left her office, I felt like I was holding a loaded weapon. That afternoon, Sophia showed up at my door again. This time she looked desperate. We need to talk, she said without preamble. No, we don't. Dad's having chest pains. Mom thinks it's his heart. I felt a flicker of something. Concern, guilt, but pushed it down. That's unfortunate. Serenity, please, just listen to me for 5 minutes. Against my better judgment, I let her in. She sat on my couch, wringing her hands. The mining report, she started. Is it real? What do you think? I think you just became the richest person in our family. Funny how that works out. Sophia looked up at me, tears in her eyes. I know we don't deserve your help. I know we treated you terribly, but we're drowning, Serenity. The bank is foreclosing next month. And you want me to save you. I want you to consider it, for Mom's sake, if not ours. Where was Mom when Dad was humiliating me? Where was she when he called my husband dirt? She was scared. She was a coward, just like you. Sophia flinched, but didn't argue. You're right. We were all cowards, but that doesn't change the fact that we're family. No, I said firmly. Family doesn't abandon each other. Family doesn't pick favorites. You made your choice 10 years ago. So did you, she shot back, some of her old fire returning. You chose to cut us out completely. You never gave us a chance to make things right. Make things right? When exactly were you planning to do that? Before or after you let Dad destroy me? The front door opened and Jonas walked in with Vanessa. My daughter ran straight to me, chattering about her day at school. Mama, is that the lady from before? She asked, noticing Sophia. Yes, baby. She was just leaving. Sophia stood slowly. Think about what I said, okay? We may not deserve your forgiveness, but Mom doesn't deserve to lose everything because of Dad's mistakes. After she left, Jonas found me in the kitchen, staring out the window at nothing. You okay? He asked. They want me to save them. What do you want to do? I want them to suffer like we suffered. I want them to know what it feels like to have nothing. And then what? I turned to look at him. What do you mean? After they suffer, after they lose everything, what then? Does it fix what they did to you? It's not about fixing anything. It's about justice. Is it? Or is it about revenge? Before I could answer, my phone rang. This time it was my mother. Serenity? Her voice was small, fragile. Please don't hang up. I almost did. My finger hovered over the end call button. I'm listening. Your father is in the hospital. His heart, the doctors say it was brought on by stress. I'm sorry to hear that. Are you? Because I think you're trying to kill him. The accusation hit like a slap. Excuse me? This mining business. You're doing it to hurt us. I'm doing it because it's my land and my choice. It's going to destroy our family. Your family destroyed itself a long time ago, Mom. I'm just refusing to go down with the ship. Please, she whispered. He's dying, Serenity. Whatever anger you have toward him, don't let it end like this. He should have thought about that before he decided I wasn't worth loving. I hung up and turned off my phone. Jonas was watching me from the doorway. You sure about this path you're on? I've never been more sure of anything in my life. But even as I said it, I wondered if that was really true. The story hit the local newspaper first. Mining IRES strikes gold on family's worthless land. By the end of the week, it had spread to regional papers and online blogs. Suddenly, everyone in town knew about the Ortiz family drama. Mrs. Dean? The reporter caught me coming out of the grocery store. I'm with Channel 7 News. Could I ask you a few questions about the mining discovery? No comment. Is it true your family disinherited you over your choice of husband? I kept walking, but she followed. Sources say your father gave you the land as punishment. How does it feel to know it's worth $20 million? I spun around. It feels like karma. That soundbite played on every local news station for 3 days. The fallout was immediate and brutal. Sophia called, crying. They're camping outside the ranch house, she sobbed. Reporters, photographers. Mom can't even get to the mailbox without someone shoving a microphone in her face. Welcome to my world 10 years ago, I said. Except back then, it was your family doing the humiliating. This is different, and you know it. Is it? Because I remember being the town scandal when I married Jonas. I remember people whispering about me in the grocery store, talking about how I'd thrown my life away. That wasn't our fault. It was exactly your fault. You could have defended me. You could have stood up to Dad. Instead, you let him turn me into a cautionary tale. The line went quiet for a moment. What do you want from us, Serenity? What will it take to end this? I want you to lose everything, just like I did. I hung up before she could respond, but the media attention was just the beginning. The real chaos started when the family began turning on each other. Davis, the ranch foreman who'd worked for my father for 15 years, showed up at my door on a Tuesday morning. Miss Serenity, he said, hat in hand. I need to talk to you. What about? I quit the ranch yesterday. Couldn't take it anymore. What happened? Reggie's lost his mind. He's screaming at everyone, blaming the hands for problems that ain't their fault. Yesterday he threw a wrench at Tommy Martinez for asking about his paycheck. That's unfortunate. It's more than unfortunate. It's dangerous. And it ain't right what they did to you all those years ago. Davis had been like a second father to me growing up. Hearing him say that meant more than I wanted to admit. I appreciate that, Davis. There's something else. Reggie's been meeting with lawyers, trying to find a way to contest your ownership of Devil's Acre. He's claiming your father wasn't of sound mind when he wrote the will. My blood went cold. Can he do that? Don't know, but he's sure trying. Thought you should know. After Davis left, I called Lexi immediately. They can try, she said after I explained the situation, but it's going to be an uphill battle. The will was properly executed, witnessed and filed. Plus, they'd have to prove your father was mentally incompetent at the time, which is going to be hard since he was running a business empire. But it's possible. Anything's possible in court, but I wouldn't worry too much. We'll be ready for them. The next blow came from an unexpected source. Natasha, Reggie's wife, called me directly. We need to meet, she said without preamble. I don't think so. It's about Reggie. He's not handling this well. That's not my problem. He's drinking heavily. Last night he put his fist through a wall. I'm scared, Serenity. Something in her voice made me pause. Natasha had always been cold, calculating, but now she sounded genuinely frightened. What do you want me to do about it? I want you to end this. Take whatever deal they offered you and walk away. Why would I do that? Because if you don't, I'm leaving him. I'm taking the kids and I'm gone. And when I do, I'm going to tell everyone exactly what kind of man your brother really is. What's that supposed to mean? It means Reggie has secrets. Dark ones. And if this family war continues, those secrets are going to come out. What kind of secrets? The kind that destroy more than just bank accounts. Before I could ask what she meant, she hung up. That night, Jonas found me pacing the kitchen at midnight. Can't sleep? He asked. They're fighting back. Reggie's trying to contest the will, Natasha's threatening to expose family secrets, and everyone's acting like I'm the villain here. Are you having second thoughts? No. But I'm starting to realize this is going to get a lot uglier before it's over. Maybe that's not a bad thing. Maybe ugly is what this family needs. I was about to respond when my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. Back off, or your family pays the price. My hands started shaking. Jonas, look at this. He read the message, his face darkening. We're calling the police. And tell them what? Someone sent a vague threat? It's not vague, Serenity. They're threatening Vanessa. For the first time since this whole thing started, I felt truly afraid. The call came at 3:47 a.m. Serenity? Jonas shook me awake. Vanessa's not in her room. I bolted upright, my heart hammering against my ribs. What do you mean she's not in her room? Her bed's empty, windows open. We tore through the house, calling her name, checking every closet, every hiding spot she'd ever used during hide and seek. Nothing. Call the police, I said, my voice barely steady. Already did. They're on their way. I grabbed my phone with shaking hands and dialed the number that had sent the threat. It went straight to voicemail. You bastards! I screamed into the phone. If you hurt her, I'll destroy every single one of you! The police arrived within minutes. Officer Martinez, a woman I'd gone to high school with, took our statement while her partner searched the yard with a flashlight. Any idea who might have taken her? She asked. My family, I said without hesitation. They've been threatening me. What kind of threats? I showed her the text. She frowned as she read it. We'll need to question them. Do you have addresses? I gave her everything. The ranch address, Reggie's home, Sophia's place. My hands wouldn't stop shaking. "We're going to find her," Officer Martinez said, "but I need you to stay here in case she comes back or someone calls." The next 2 hours were the longest of my life. Jonas paced the living room while I sat by the phone, willing it to ring. Every minute that passed felt like an eternity. At 6:15 a.m., my phone finally buzzed. Sophia's name on the screen. "Where is she?" I answered without saying hello. "Serenity, what are you talking about?" "Don't play dumb with me. Where's my daughter?" "I don't know what—" "Someone took Vanessa, and I got a threat yesterday telling me to back off or my family would pay." "Oh my God!" Sophia breathed. "Serenity, I swear to you, we didn't take her. None of us would ever—" "Then who did?" "I don't know, but we'll help you find her. I'm coming over right now." "Don't you dare!" But she'd already hung up. 20 minutes later, Sophia burst through my front door without knocking, still in her pajamas. Behind her came my mother, looking older and more fragile than I'd ever seen her. "Any word?" Sophia asked. "Nothing." Mom sat down heavily on my couch. "This is my fault," she whispered. "All of this fighting, all this anger, it's tearing our family apart." "Our family was already apart," I snapped. "You made sure of that 10 years ago." "Serenity," Sophia said quietly, "we can fight later. Right now, we need to focus on finding Vanessa." She was right, but I hated admitting it. At 7:30, Officer Martinez called back. "Oh, we found her," she said, and I nearly collapsed with relief. "She's safe. She's at the Miller farm about 2 miles from your house." "The Miller farm? What's she doing there?" "Apparently she snuck out to see their new puppies. Mrs. Miller found her asleep in the barn this morning." I wanted to laugh and cry and scream all at the same time. "She snuck out? On her own?" "Kids do that sometimes. She said she couldn't sleep and remembered you mentioning the puppies yesterday. She climbed out her window and walked over there." "But the threat?" "Probably unrelated. Could be someone trying to scare you, or it could be a prank. We're still investigating." Jonas and I drove to the Miller farm in record time. Vanessa was sitting on their porch, holding a golden retriever puppy and looking completely unbothered by the chaos she'd caused. "Mama!" she called when she saw us. "Look at the puppies! Can we get one?" I swept her into my arms, holding her so tight she squeaked in protest. "Don't you ever scare me like that again," I said, tears streaming down my face. "I'm sorry, Mama. I just wanted to see the puppies." "You could have been hurt. You could have been killed." "But I wasn't. And look how cute they are." The drive home was quiet. Vanessa fell asleep in her car seat, exhausted from her adventure. Jonas reached over and squeezed my hand. "She's okay," he said, "this time." "But what about next time? What if someone really does try to hurt her because of what I'm doing?" "Then we'll protect her. But we can't live in fear, Serenity." When we got home, Sophia and Mom were still there, sitting at my kitchen table with cups of coffee. "Is she okay?" Sophia asked immediately. "She's fine. Just tired." "Thank God," Mom said, her voice shaking. I put Vanessa to bed and came back to find them still sitting there. "You can go now," I said. "Serenity," Mom said, standing slowly. "I know you hate us. I know we failed you. But seeing you today, seeing how scared you were, it reminded me that you're still my daughter. And I love you, even if I haven't shown it." "Love isn't enough, Mom. It never was." "I know, but it's all I have left to offer." After they left, I sat in Vanessa's room watching her sleep. She looked so peaceful, So innocent. She had no idea that her mother was waging a war that could destroy everything. My phone buzzed with a text from Lexi. Mining company wants to finalize the deal tomorrow. Papers are ready to sign. I stared at the message for a long time. Tomorrow I would officially become one of the wealthiest people in the county. Tomorrow my revenge would be complete. So, why did I feel so empty? The mining contract signing was scheduled for 10 a.m. at Lexi's office. By 9:30, I was sitting in her conference room, staring at papers that would make me richer than I'd ever dreamed possible. "You ready for this?" Lexi asked, sliding the contracts across the table. "I've been ready for 10 years. The mining company executives arrived right on time. 3 men in expensive suits who treated me like I was doing them a favor instead of the other way around. The lead negotiator, Mr. Patterson, spread out the final documents. 2 million signing bonus, 15% royalties on all extracted materials, guaranteed minimum payments of 12 million over the next decade," he said. "It's an excellent deal, Mrs. Dean." I picked up the pen, but before I could sign there was a commotion in the hallway. Raised voices, someone arguing with Lexi's receptionist. The conference room door burst open. Royce stood there, looking like he'd aged 20 years in the past month. Behind him were Reggie, Sophia, and my mother. They all looked desperate. "Don't sign that," Royce said, his voice hoarse. "Excuse me," Patterson said, standing. "This is a private meeting." "It's okay," I told him. "Give us a minute." The mining executive stepped outside, clearly annoyed. Lexi started to follow them, but I shook my head. "Stay. I want a witness." Royce moved closer to the table, his hands shaking. "Serenity, please. We need to talk." "Now, you want to talk? After 10 years of silence?" "I was wrong," he said simply. "About everything. About Jonas. About you. About what family means." "You're only saying that because I'm about to become rich." "No." He pulled out a chair and sat down heavily. "I'm saying it because I'm dying." The room went silent. Even Reggie looked shocked. "Dad?" Sophia whispered. "The doctors gave me 6 months, maybe less." He looked directly at me. "I don't have time for pride anymore." "So now you want forgiveness?" "I want to make things right. The ranch, the will, all of it. I want to fix what I broke." I laughed, but there was no humor in it. "You can't fix this. You threw me away like garbage. You made me feel worthless for choosing love over money. And you proved me wrong. Look at you. You built a life, raised a daughter, survived everything I threw at you. You're stronger than Reggie ever was." Reggie flinched. "Dad!" "It's true, son. You know it is. I gave you everything and you squandered it. I gave her nothing, and she turned it into gold. Literally," I said, gesturing to the contracts. Royce nodded. "Literally. The irony isn't lost on me." "What do you want from me?" I asked. "I want you to come home, take over the ranch, run it the way it should be run." "And what about Reggie?" "Reggie can work for you, if you'll have him." My brother's face went red. "I'm not working for her." "Then you'll work for no one," Royce said sharply, "because the bank is foreclosing next week. It's over, Reggie. Everything's gone." The silence stretched out. Mom was crying quietly. Sophia looked like she wanted to disappear. Reggie stared at the floor. "I don't want the ranch," I said finally. "What?" Sophia looked up, surprised. "I don't want any of it. The house, the land, the cattle operation. I never did." "Then what do you want?" Royce asked. I stood up and walked to the window, looking out at the town where I'd grown up, where I'd been humiliated, where I'd rebuilt my life from nothing. I want you to understand what you did to me. I want you to know what it felt like to be thrown away by the people who were supposed to love me unconditionally. I do understand, Royce said quietly. And I'm sorry. I'm sorrier than you'll ever know. I turned back to face him. Are you? Or are you just sorry you're losing? Both, he admitted. But mostly I'm sorry I wasted 10 years being too proud to admit I was wrong. I looked at each of them. My father, dying and desperate. My brother, broken and defeated. My sister, caught to the middle. My mother, silent as always, but finally showing some emotion. The mining deal is happening, I said. That's not negotiable, but I'll make you an offer. What kind of offer? Sophia asked. I'll buy the ranch from the bank. Keep it in the family. But there are conditions. Name them, Royce said immediately. Reggie goes to rehab. Real rehab, not some country club detox. And when he gets out, he works for me, starting at the bottom. Reggie started to protest, but Royce cut him off. Agreed. Sophia, you'll manage the day-to-day operations. You always were the smartest one of us. Serenity. And you, I looked at Royce, you'll have nothing to do with any business decisions. You can live in the house until you die, but you don't get a vote in anything. And what about forgiveness? He asked quietly. I picked up the pen and signed the mining contract with a flourish. Forgiveness isn't something you can negotiate, Dad. It's something you earn. I stood up and gathered the papers. The ranch will be saved. The family name will survive. But the family itself? That's going to take a lot more work. As I walked toward the door, Royce called out one last time. Serenity? I turned back. Thank you. I nodded once and left them sitting there with their relief and their shame and their second chance they didn't deserve but were getting anyway. Outside, Jonas was waiting with Vanessa, who was playing on the courthouse steps. How'd it go? He asked. I'm rich, I said, and apparently I just bought a ranch. Any regrets? I watched Vanessa chase a butterfly across the grass, laughing with pure joy. Ask me in 10 years, but as we drove home, I realized something had shifted. The anger that had burned in my chest for a decade was still there, but it felt different now. Smaller, somehow, like a fire that had finally found enough fuel to burn itself out. I'd gotten my revenge. I'd proven my worth. I'd shown them all exactly what they'd thrown away. Now I had to figure out what to do with the victory.